Chapter 7 of Karna Parva, the death of Dushasana. Arjuna asked Krishna to take him to Radheya. He said, Krishna, Shalya is holding the reins of his horses even as you are holding those of mine. He looks splendid with the reins in his hands. Radheya is magnificent. I have got to meet Radheya. Take me to him soon. So be it, said Krishna, and set his horses in Radheya's path. Shalya saw the chariot of Arjuna coming towards them with grim determination. It is to be noticed here that Shalya had stopped taunting Radheya. He was overcome with sheer admiration for this great man who had set his life at stake and was fighting for his king Duryodhana. His promise to Yudhishthira was forgotten. He saw the greatness of Radheya, and the warrior in him admired Radheya. He said, Radheya, the time has come when you shall fulfill your oath that you will kill Arjuna. He is cutting up the army and it looks like so much straw caught in a sickle. He is heading straight for you. Radheya, you are the one person in the world who can face Arjuna. I know of no one else who is as great as you. You will stop this man as the land does the rushing tide. He has no protectors. You are able to kill Arjuna and Krishna. I know it. Bhishma, Drona, Kripa and Ashwatthama are far inferior to you in prowess. I am very proud to be the charioteer to such a great hero. Our army has scattered in all the four directions on seeing Arjuna. Radheya, you have so much power in your arms. You are well versed in the art of fighting. I remember that you won this earth for your friend Duryodhana once. You can do it again now by killing Arjuna. Radheya's eyes were blind with tears of gratitude for the words spoken by Shalya. He said, My lord, you have today made me the happiest person on this earth by your words of praise. I feel greatly honored. I will try and live up to your expectations. I know the greatness of Arjuna. Still, I am hoping to kill him today, and please, my lord, master and friend, take me to him. I cannot wait. The two chariots were proceeding towards each other. Duryodhana was all the time watching Radheya. He wanted to help him. He sent some of his brothers and others to help Radheya. The progress of the two chariots was again impeded by a general fight. Bhima had again come to the forefront and it was hard to stop his advance. Satyaki had killed Susheshana, another son of Radheya. Radheya killed the son of Drishtadyumna. And now the Panchalas were attacking him all together. Shikandi, Janmejaya, Yudhamanyu, Utthamaujas and Drishtadyumna were the 5 warriors who were fighting with Radheya. He was able to defeat all of them. He made them retreat. They were joined by Satyaki and other Panchala warriors. The fight became general once again to the great exasperation of Radheya and Arjuna. They were impatient to meet and they could not. During the general fight, Duryodhana with several of his brothers came to join in the fight. Dushasana was in the front. Bhima and Dushasana met. They fought a terrible duel. Each covered the other with arrows. Dushasana was a powerful fighter and he hated Bhima. These two factors made him fight his best today. He withstood the onslaught of Bhima. Bhima said, Come, Dushasana, I have been waiting for this duel for the last so many years. Dushasana smiled at him arrogantly and said, I have always wanted to see you fight. I am just as happy about this duel as you are, Bhima. Bhima said, I am glad you came to me today. I can today clear a debt if I owed you for a very long time. I remember the time when you touched the perfumed hair of my Draupadi with your sinful hands. Ever since then, my dear cousin, I have always been thinking of you and only you. You might have forgotten it, but I have not. Dushasana sneered at him. In an insolent voice he said, Why should I forget? I remember it very well. I remember so many other things when you speak of Draupadi. I remember your running away from the house of lack to save your lives. I am remembering the time you spent in the forest like animals. I seem to remember your taking for wife a monster called Hidimbe. I remember the city of the Panchalas where Arjuna won the women for wife. I remember that all of you wanted her and she agreed to play wife to more than one man, even as your mother did. I remember her as she stood in our court, a slave, thanks to our uncle Shakuni. They were fighting all the time. The fight was very fierce. Dushasana was an excellent archer, and the javelin which was thrown at him by Bhima was broken into two by the arrows of Dushasana. He was annoying Bhima by breaking his bow. Bhima was furious. He took up his mace and with one fell blow he killed the horses of Dushasana. He made Dushasana fall from his chariot by a powerful blow from his mace. Dushasana was on the ground. Bhima looked at everyone around him and scanned them all one by one. He looked terrible as he stood there, rolling his eyes. They were copper red with anger. No one spoke. No one breathed. Bhima looked at Duryodhana standing near and said, "Yes, it is when you are looking on that I should do it." He looked at all of them, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Radeya and Duryodhana. He laughed a cruel laugh. Bhima rushed towards the unfortunate Dushasana and caught him in his hands. He caught him by the neck as a lion catches an elephant. He said, "Dushasana, so you remember everything. Then how is it you did not remember the one thing which you ought to have remembered? I am going to drink the blood from your heart. Let me see who is able to stop me and save you." Bhima turned to the people around him and said, "Duryodhana, 18 days back you sent me a message through this jackal by name Uluka. You said, 'Bhima, you swore that you would drink the blood of Dushasana. Drink it if you can. You may be able to carve meat for eating, but let me see how well you are going to carve my brother's heart.' This was the message you sent me. I am giving the reply now. Watch me carve the heart of your brother. See me drink his blood. You were told that you will see your brother's helpless eyes and that you will be able to do nothing about it. Look, Duryodhana, I have your brother by his neck now. Look at him like a sparrow in the grip of a hawk. You can see his eyes. They are asking you all to save him. Come and try if you can." It was the most terrible sight. No one could move. Everyone was paralyzed. Bhima threw Dushasana on the bare ground. He placed his foot on his neck. He cut the right arm of Dushasana from his body and threw it on the ground. He said, "Now the oath of Draupadi is fulfilled." She wanted to see this jeweled hand to fall on the ground, the hand which had dared to touch her hair. Bhima ripped open the chest of Dushasana. He cut it with the swift stroke of his sword. Blood spurted out and Bhima put his lips to the wound as the blood rushed out warm from the form of the dying man. Dushasana was not dead yet. It was terrible to see Bhima drinking human blood and saying, "This is the most tasty of all the drinks I have tasted so far." With the blood ebbed out the life of Dushasana. Radeya could not bear to see this dreadful scene. He could do nothing to help his friend. Shalya saw the grief of Radeya. He said, "You are too sensitive, Radeya. War means all these things. Now that Dushasana is dead, the king has only you to help him. Do not lose heart at the sight of this outrage." Duryodhana is plunged in grief. The fate and happiness of the king is all in your hands. Do not lose heart. Let us proceed to the spot where Arjuna is. I am taking you away from here. Shalya took the chariot of Radeya away from the presence of Bhima. Vrishasena, the son of Radeya, was advancing towards the army of Pandavas. He went straight at Bhima. He was indeed the son of Radeya. He had the same grace and power for which Radeya was famed the world over. He was harassing the Pandavas. Arjuna saw this. He came to fight with Vrishasena. Arjuna had sworn that he would kill the son of Radeya when he was looking on. After fighting with him for a while, Arjuna killed Vrishasena with a sharp arrow. Radeya had to see his son killed. He had just seen the killing of Dushasana. Before he could get over the shock of it, he had to see the death of his child. His eyes were full of tears, which flowed like an endless stream. Anger gave place to sorrow. Radeya was eager to fight with Arjuna. He asked Shalya to proceed fast towards Arjuna. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Chapter 8 of Karna Parva, Radeya and Arjuna. Radeya's chariot had come to the front. He stood just in front of Arjuna. The two great fighters, the greatest archers in the world, faced each other, bent on killing each other. Radeya challenged Arjuna to a single combat. Just before the fight began, Radeya turned his smiling face to Shalya and said, "I am going to win today. If, however, I am killed, what will you do, my lord?" Shalya's eyes were moist. He said, "I am sure you will win. If, however, you should die, Radeya, I will kill the two of them and avenge your death." Radeya was very happy to hear the words of Shalya. Strange to say, Arjuna asked the same question of Krishna. Krishna smiled and said, "The sun may drop down from the heavens, but you will not fail. The fire may lose its heat, but you will not fail. If, however, you are killed by Radeya, then you may be sure that the end of the world has come. I will kill Shalya and Radeya with my bare hands. I will destroy the world with my anger, but that will not happen. I know it." The two charioteers glared at each other and the two fighters smiled at each other. They were ready for the fight. Ashwatthama saw them preparing themselves for the fight. His heart was suddenly full of compassion for everyone on the battlefield. He took the hand of Duryodhana and squeezed it. The king was still heaving with sobs caused by the death of his beloved brother Dushasana. Ashwatthama said, "Duryodhana, look at these two heroes getting ready to kill each other. Stop this war. Make peace with the Pandavas. They are good men. My father is dead. Bhishma has fallen. In a short while, Radeya may be dead. I will ask Arjuna to stop it. He will listen to my words. Krishna will welcome the suggestion of peace. I cannot be killed and my uncle cannot be killed. Still, you may lose the war. Yudhishthira has always hated the thoughts of war. Bhima, Nakula and Sahadeva will listen to their brother. This slaughter has gone on long enough. Stop it. Let Radeya and Arjuna live as friends. I ask you very humbly to make all hostilities cease. If you do not, I can assure you, you will be plunged in grief. Make them all your friends. Nothing will be more wonderful. Save your soul before it is too late. You know that I am not as fond of anyone else as I am of you. I want you to live, my dear friend. That is why I am asking you to do this. I am sure that Radeya will be killed in today's fight. I want to spare you that grief. That is why I am asking you to stop this war. Look at the destruction caused to both the armies during these 17 days. You must ponder well and stop this war." Duryodhana looked at his friend and stood silent for a few moments. Then he said, "All that you are saying is true, Ashwatthama. I know it only too well, but it is too late. After seeing my beloved Dushasana killed like that, I cannot think of anything else but war. We have gone too far. There is no return for us. It is no use thinking of the impossible. Things have been destined to follow a certain pattern. It will all happen just that way. Radeya is right. There is no armor against fate. I must go on. I cannot stop. I thank you, my friend, for your affection, but it cannot be done. This war must go on to the last man." Duryodhana made arrangements for an army to surround Radeya. Arjuna had the entire Pandava armies around him. They all wanted to watch while the great duel was being fought between the two great heroes of Bharatavarsha. The duel had begun. Radheya and Arjuna were fighting with just ordinary arrows and javelins and the like. They had not warmed up yet. It was just the beginning stage of a duel. It was more a display of the skill of both. The arrows of Arjuna were cut up by Radheya when they were in the act reaching him. The same skill was displayed by Arjuna also. The tone of the duel changed in a moment. Arjuna suddenly decided to use divine astras. He sent Agneyastra. Radheya braced himself up and smilingly sent the Varunastra, the counter astra. The fire caused by Arjuna's astra was quenched by that of the proud Radheya. The sky was now covered by dense black clouds and a cool breeze blew. The clouds were dispelled by the Vayavyastra sent by Arjuna. Still, it was just display. There was darkness one moment because of the Varunastra and it was dispelled by Arjuna. Now Arjuna sent the astra called Aindra. It began to shower arrows on the entire army of the Kauravas. Radheya was furious with Arjuna. He took up an arrow and spoke the incantations for a great astra. It was the powerful Bhargavastra, the gift of his guru Bhargava. This astra was terrible. It destroyed all the arrows sent by Arjuna. The entire army was amazed at the greatness of Radheya. The army on both the sides suffered as a result of these astras. The Bhargavastra was more powerful than the Aindra. The Pandava army was being harassed by it. The Kauravas were happy. Bhima was very angry with Arjuna. He said, Radheya is covering you with arrows. The enemies are laughing at your condition and you are doing nothing about it. If you cannot just tell me and I will kill Radheya with just one hit of my mace. His time is ripe. He will have to die and I will do your work for you. Krishna heard the words of Bhima and said, Arjuna, it looks as though the words of Bhima are true. It looks as though we will never be able to emerge out of the wheel of arrows which Radheya has placed around us. Arjuna, why do you hesitate? Krishna spoke to Arjuna as Narayana to Nara. He said, did you not kill Dhambodbhava when he challenged you? Radheya is Dhambodbhava. You must use all your astras against this man who is a past master in the art of fighting. Send the Brahmastra. You must remember who you are. You must remember the purpose for which you have been born on this earth. Rouse your sleeping self and do the needful. Arjuna remembered his previous birth. He invoked the Brahmastra after saluting it in his mind. The four quarters were covered by the arrows from this astra. Arjuna and Krishna emerged out of the cloud that had been covering them up till now. Radheya was sending a stream of arrows. It looked as though he did not need any astra to cause a continuous stream. Arjuna was not able to bear the power of the arrows of Radheya, but he managed to recover himself. He had covered the chariot of Radheya with his arrows. For a while the Kauravas thought that Radheya had been killed. There was loud lamentation, but Radheya came out of it easily. The two heroes were equally matched. They sent against each other all the astras they knew. Yudhishthira heard that the great duel was being fought between Arjuna and Radheya. With difficulty he got up and came there to watch the duel. The sky was filled up with all the devas who had come to watch the fight. Indra and Surya were very nearly on the point of fighting a duel on behalf of their sons. Bhima was also being hurt by the occasional arrow of Radheya. The entire army on either side was suffering from the arrows of both of them. Both the bows, Vijaya and Gandiva, were making music. There was no other noise there on the field except the twanging of the strings of these bows. There were often shouts and cheers, now from the Kauravas and now from the Pandavas, when something graceful was performed by either of the two. Radheya cut the string of Arjuna's bow. Arjuna replaced it with great speed. With a smile, Radheya cut that also. Again it was replaced. This happened 11 times. Arjuna was replacing the string so quickly and so skillfully that Radeya was lost in admiration. He praised Arjuna in his mind. He was proud of this younger brother of his. He loved him so much when he fought so well. Radeya was covered again by the arrows of Arjuna. Looking as angry as Rudra at the end of the world, Radeya began to harass Arjuna. He had with him 5 deadly snake-like arrows. These he sent towards Krishna. Arjuna was furious. The anger of both was rising. The time had passed when they could afford to be gentle. It was a fight to death between them now. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Chapter 9 of Karna Parva, the death of Radeya. Arjuna sent arrows which burned Radeya. The arrows were aimed at the army which surrounded Radeya. The protectors of the wheel of Radeya's chariot fled in sheer terror. Arjuna continued to halt all those who surrounded Radeya. They all fled away, leaving him alone on the field. Duryodhana was very angry with these deserters. He tried his best to make them go back to the front, but no one was able to face Arjuna and his terrible arrows. Radeya cut away his arrows, which were trying to cover him up. He now decided to send a single astra, which was sure to kill Arjuna. Radeya took up the terrible Nagastra. It was now his most precious possession. For a moment he thought of the Shakti which has been with him all these years. If only he had not been forced to part with it, he could have killed Arjuna, and now it had gone back to Indra. Radeya had no time to think. He had no time for regret, no time to think of the might-have-beens. He had nothing except the Nagastra. He was sure of its killing Arjuna. He took it up out of his perfumed case and took sure aim at the neck of Arjuna. He planned to cut his head. Shalya saw this and said, Radeya, do not aim at his neck, aim at his chest, or at least send another arrow, a companion, aimed at his chest. This may fail. Radeya said, Radeya will never change the aim once it has been taken. It is not befitting a good archer to send a companion arrow, thinking that the first will fail. It is against the etiquette of fighting to change the aim after one has decided. Radeya drew the string to the fullest. He fixed the arrow to it. The sky glowed with the brilliance of the astra. Radeya said, Arjuna, take a good look at the world before you die. This is your last moment on the earth. The astra had left his bow. It coursed along the air like a streak of lightning, spitting fire as it approached Arjuna. The army was watching with bated breath. The Pandavas were sure of the death of Arjuna. Then happened something which baffled the plans of Radeya. Krishna pressed hard on the horses. They knelt down on the ground, making the chariot sink into the ground to a depth of 5 inches. Since the chariot had been pushed far into the ground, the astra could not touch the neck of Arjuna. It hit against the beautiful crown he was wearing and felled it to the ground. It was the crown which has been placed on his head by Indra. It had been made specially for him by the divine craftsman, and it was fretted with 1,000 gems. It was the crown which had earned for him the name Kiriti. It fell down on the ground, hit by Nagastra. A great sigh which seemed to shatter his frame escaped Radeya. He knew now that he had nothing that would hurt Arjuna. This was the one thing that should have killed him. It had failed because of the astuteness of Krishna. It was all over. His dream of killing Arjuna and Duryodhana's dream of ruling the world. It was all just a mirage. Tears of anger and disappointment blinded Radeya. He brushed them away impatiently and began to fight as before. Arjuna bound up his beautiful curly hair with a white kerchief and resumed fighting. Yudhishthira was still gasping with relief. It was a close thing. He had almost lost Arjuna. But Krishna was there. Krishna, who had said that the Pandavas meant his very life to him. Radeya saw a vicious snake emerging from the spot where the crown had fallen. The snake came to Radeya and said, "Your astra failed to cut the neck of Arjuna since I had entered it without your knowledge. Now look at me and send the astra again at him. I will certainly kill him. Arjuna is an old enemy of mine. My name is Ashwasena. During the burning of the Khandava forest, my mother was killed by him, and I have been nursing this grievance against him all these years. Please send me again. You are the one man who is capable of killing Arjuna. Let me help you in your attempt. Help me to take my revenge on Arjuna." Radeya was very angry with the snake. He said, "Listen to me, you interfering fool. Radeya is not so helpless that he has to get the help of others to fight with his enemy. I depend on myself and on no one else. I would rather be killed 100 times than depend on the strength of others. I will kill Arjuna with my strength and not with borrowed strength. You have done me wrong by entering without my permission. You can go away from here before I kill you." Ashwasena was wild because his attempts at revenge had come to nothing. He decided to attack Arjuna all by himself. The snake sped across the air with the intention of killing Arjuna. Krishna saw the snake coming in the direction of the chariot. Guessing its intentions, he said, "Arjuna, quick, kill the snake before it kills you. It is coming to kill you." Arjuna said, "Who is this that comes to destroy me without being sent by anyone?" Krishna told him about his ancient hatred for Arjuna. Arjuna sent 6 sharp arrows which killed the snake even as it was poised in the air ready to strike. The fight went on between Arjuna and Radeya. Both were cut up by many arrows and blood was flowing in rivulets along their mighty chests. Shalya and Krishna were hurt too. But the fight went on. Radeya's end was drawing near. Fate had decided that the moment had come. Unseen by anyone and unknown to anyone, fate was trying to make the curse of the Brahmin come true. The earth had to cooperate and she became soft all on a sudden. One wheel of the chariot of Radeya was slowly but surely getting caught up in the mire. It looked like the sun setting, like life ebbing out of a spent body. It was a slow process, but it was very sure. The wheel had sunk far into the ground. The chariot tipped and the level was uneven. It was then that Radeya noticed it. He went back several years. He saw the dead cow on the ground. He saw the Brahmin and his angry eyes. Again he heard the voice of the Brahmin. When you are fighting with your enemy, your heart's dearest enemy, the wheel of your chariot will get sunk in the ground. And just as you killed my poor innocent cow, when it was unaware of the danger that threatened it, even so will you be killed by your opponent when you are least prepared for the attack. Radeya wanted to make the most of the time given to him. He fixed an arrow to his bowstring and invoked the Brahmastra. He could not remember the great Astra. It was now the end. His Guru's words came back to him. When you are desperately in need of an Astra, your memory will fail you. Radeya saw that he was now completely beaten. His wheel had sunk to the ground. The divine Astras were not at his command anymore. The Nagastra had proved futile. His Kavacha and Kundala had already been lost. His Shakti had gone. Tears of rage filled his eyes. Rage against fate. Arjuna was cutting the strings of his bow as quickly as he strung them. Radeya wrung his hands in helpless fury and said, "It has been said that righteousness is always there to protect those that are righteous. As far as I am concerned, I have practiced dharma to the best of my knowledge. But this dharma is a wayward mistress who never rewards those who love her. There is nothing like dharma in this world." Radeya was being hurt by the sharp arrows of Arjuna. but he had become quite indifferent to all these things. Arjuna sent the great Aindrastra against him. With very great effort of the will, Radeya remembered the Brahmastra and sent it to baffle the Aindra. His chariot had its left wheel completely sunk in the ground. The protectors of the wheels had been scared away long ago by the fury of Arjuna. Radeya had to descend from the chariot. Arjuna fixed an arrow to his bowstring and he had planned to invoke the great Rudrastra. Radeya's eyes were filled with tears of wrath and helplessness. He said, Arjuna, the left wheel of my chariot has sunk into the ground. It is just my fate and nothing else which has caused this to happen. At this critical moment, if you will wait a moment, I will raise it. You are a great hero. You are a righteous fighter. Please stop your fighting until I am ready. It is not fair to fight when the opponent is not ready to fight back. I am sure you will follow the rules of fair fighting. You are there on the chariot, I am here, and I am here on the ground without weapons. It is not right that you should send your astras now. Wait for a while. I will raise the wheel and we will then fight. Krishna laughed cruelly at Radeya. He said, So, you want a fair treatment from Arjuna now? Tell me truly, Radeya, if you have walked always in the path of righteousness, you have been part of Duryodhana's plots against the Pandavas. You were there when their queen Draupadi was dragged to the court by Dushasana. You gloated over her helplessness more than the others. You never thought of righteousness when the game of dice was being played. Why talk of what happened long ago? Let me remind you of something which happened but 4 days back. Yes, 4 days back. All of you killed Abhimanyu. Krishna's eyes were red. His face was terrible to look at. It was distorted with fury and sorrow at the thought of Abhimanyu. He said, Yes, Abhimanyu. 6 heroes murdered him. He wanted a fair chance. He did not have a single weapon. With the wheel of his chariot in his hand, he called you all to fight with him one by one. Did you think of the rules of fighting then? Who cut the bow of Abhimanyu from behind when he was unaware of it? Was it a hero who knew the rules of fair fighting? You disgust me with your demands for fair fighting. How dare you expect it when you did not pay any attention to it then? Krishna's lips were throbbing with rage. Krishna's words hurt Radeya more than the arrows of Arjuna. He knew it all to be true. He hung his head down and went on with his attempts to lift the chariot from the ground. It was almost like his attempts to live against all odds. Krishna knew all about him. He knew that the one wrong act he did in his life was loving the sinful Duryodhana. But he was paying the price for it with his heart's blood. Was that not enough? Why should Krishna wound him like that? It was all destined long ago that he had to be the only true friend of Duryodhana. Fate had decided his future, and it was of no use trying to explain one's actions. He loved this man, Duryodhana. He was prepared to do anything for him. He committed sin for his sake. He had never approved of the shady plans of Shakuni. He had even tried to prevent Duryodhana from taking the advice of Shakuni. But it was of no use. Radeya never did have the heart to deny Duryodhana the happiness of his triumph over the Pandavas. Radeya had been so hearty in the Sabha on that memorable day since he wanted to please Duryodhana. Krishna knew it and yet he accused him of unrighteousness. But now there was no time to think. He could not unweave the web that had been woven once. He had been caught in it. It was now time to die, to lay down the arms and rest. He had paid the debt in full. Radeya left the wheel of the chariot and went back to fight. Arjuna did not send the Rudrastra. He sent the Agneya and it was baffled by Radeya sending the Varunastra. Radeya's body was weak. With the effort he had to expend in remembering the incantations. That was the last astra he could recall. He had to depend now on just his own skill to ward off the astra of Arjuna. Arjuna was now sending the Vayu Vyastra. In between the exchange of arrows, Radeya would jump down from his chariot and try to lift it up. Again he would resume the fighting. It was a sight that should have made the gods weep. It was awful to see the great Radeya in such a terrible condition. No one could help him. No one could come near him because of the arrows of Arjuna. And again, everyone was too stunned by the horror of the situation to do anything. Shalya could do nothing. He had to manage the horses which were ready to bolt at any moment. Their bodies had been mangled so ruthlessly by Arjuna. Radeya sent a powerful arrow to kill Arjuna. The impact was just terrible. It fell on Arjuna's chest and he fainted. The Pandavas thought that he was dead. The Gandiva slipped from his hand. It was a great moment for the Kauravas. They were sure that Arjuna was killed. But before they could cheer, Arjuna recovered from the faint. His eyes took on a crimson hue. He felt the banner of Radeya. The glittering banner fell on the ground looking like a fallen rainbow. With the fall of that banner fell all that was dear to Radeya, his fame, his name. The heart of the Kauravas broke when they saw the proud banner of Radeya lying on the ground, drenched in the blood of Radeya. He tried once again to lift up his chariot. He could not. He gave up all hopes now, but still he was trying. He was on the ground with his two arms straining at the wheel. His veins were like whipcords. His face was wet with sweat and blood pouring down his temples. His eyes were raining tears of mortifications. Krishna said, Arjuna, you must hurry. You must kill Radeya before he comes back to the chariot. Arjuna took up an arrow which was like a thunderbolt. Looking at it, the Kauravas lost heart. Arjuna invoked the divine astra and fixing the arrow to his bow, he pulled the string to his ears. He released the arrow. The sky was illuminated by the splendid arrow as it sped on its way. Radeya was bending down. His arms were still trying in vain to lift up the chariot. The arrow of Arjuna came very near him. Radeya just looked at it, and even as he was looking at it with a smile of sheer contempt in his eyes, it cut the head of the great Radeya. The head of the great commander of the Kaurava army fell on the ground like the sun suddenly descending to the earth. His handsome face still bore the smile, and his lower lip was caught between his teeth in his efforts to raise the chariot. A glow left the body of Radeya and went upwards to the sky. There were some who could see this. The glow went slowly, so slowly that it looked as though it were unwilling to leave that beautiful body which had held it for so many years. Jai Dhana Veera Shura Karna. Shri Krishnarpanamastu.